first, I want to introduce my panel. Otis Sanford is ABC24's political analyst. He's joining me here in the studio. Susan Adler-Thorpe is with Thorpe Communications, a political consultant. And we also have Reverend Ken Whalum with New Olivet Worship Center. Thanks to all three of you for being here. Always appreciate it. Let's start with this rebranding effort. And Reverend Ken, as a former Memphis City School Board member, you know I'm going to come to you first on this. There have been some parents, we've had stories with them this past week, who feel the priority should be education and getting these scores up and graduation rates up before we worry about rebranding. The school system counters and says, look, we got to reflect the community we're in. Most of our kids are Memphians, and therefore that should be in the title. What are your thoughts about this? You're shaking your head.
And you see my listen, Richard, this makes my heart hurt and it vexes my spirit, man, because I'm not going to use the word sick and tired. Just look at the facts. Shelby County Schools, or the future Memphis Shelby County Schools, has spent so much money in PR, so much money in this public image. The only thing schools exist to do is educate children. And we have a superintendent who gets defensive and deflective when asked about the graduation rates. The only job a school system has is to graduate students, not to put forth a public image, not to put forth a brand. I want to know who's being paid. Who's being paid the consultant money to advise on the brand, the rebranding? It makes me angry, Richard. How many students are graduating from Memphis Shelby County schools? And how does that rate compare to 10 years ago? And why is the public allowing lies to be told? I read the school board's information on this announcement, and it says that the school systems merged. They did not merge. That is a lie, Richard. I was there. I'm going to stop talking now and let somebody else.
Well, in fact, Memphis City Schools did surrender its charter. There was not. It was kind of a merger by
That is different.
default.
That is different, Richard. That's not merging. Right. Merge means two full institutions, two fully authorized entities. That did not happen.
But let me put something to the point of, I agree that, education obviously is important. The number one goal is graduating kids, but can't the school system especially of Shelby County size, handle both a rebranding effort and the other as well? It can't both happen at the same time?
Apparently not, because they've been rebranding for 10 years. They've been doing PR for 10 years, and the graduation rate, from all we know, has not improved. But we don't know for sure because the superintendent, and I lay the blame at the foot of the school board, the Board of Commissioners, because the superintendent works for them. It's not the other way around. We don't know what the graduation rate is. No, they can't handle rebranding and graduation rates. No, focus on the graduation.
Susan, you're a graduate of White Station High School. Your kids went to public education in Memphis. What are your thoughts about all this talk about the rebranding effort of SCS?
Well, I'm very sympathetic with Kenneth Whalum. I think that he's right. The focus should always be on education, educating our kids, and it seems to me the city schools as a whole has fallen woefully short of that. They should have, if they were going to rebrand it and call it Memphis City Schools, they should have done it years ago. I mean, I don't know why they all of a sudden decided that it was important to do it. But, I think we're splitting hairs a little bit. What difference does it make if it's Memphis City Schools, Shelby County Schools? It's, all of the money, and Kenneth is right, that we're spending on public relations and branding and imaging. If they don't shore up the graduation rates and the teaching of our children to make them more productive citizens one day, then all this branding and rebranding is doing is basically it's rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. That's all it's doing.
I want to point out, Otis, that we did invite Superintendent Ray to join us for the show today. He had a scheduling conflict. But I do want to talk to you about this notion of the rebrand, because they also make a point that, yes, we're rebranding, but they claim it's not going to cost any money, the rebranding itself, which I find a little suspicious. It costs a lot of money to print stationery, business cards, signage, all that. But okay. Nonetheless, they are getting a heck of a lot of federal dollars hundreds of millions of dollars, and they say they're going to be able to match the rebrand with increased pay for teachers. They're going to increase advanced placement courses. They're going to step up the education part of this too.
Right. And right. I mean, that's the spin that they're putting on it. Hey, look, I'm not as vociferous about this as my friend Ken Whalum is, and I do understand his criticism here. But honestly, I just don't understand all of the heated criticism around this. Yes, I was part of the opinion journalists way back in 2010 who criticized the decision to surrender the charter. I thought it was a bad idea, and I blamed some of the members of the board who were part of, Ken was on the board at that time, and he was against it, and I agreed with him on that. But what's done is done. And Susan is right. We should have changed the name years ago. I said that earlier last week. But I see nothing wrong with calling this school district what it is. It is the Memphis Shelby County School District. Virtually all of the schools that are in this district, with the exception of the 3G schools in Germantown, and they're trying to sort of get out of the Shelby County School District, all of those schools are in Memphis. Yeah, I think a change in the name will cut down on confusion. I don't know how much it will cost to do this. They need to tell us how much it will cost. But yes, let's do this. But also work on improving graduation rates, improving performance, being even more above board and open with the public about how this school district is doing. But I see nothing wrong with changing the name to reflect what this is, Memphis Shelby County Schools.
Reverend Ken, I'll let you have a response to that.
Typically, when there is a rebranding in any corporate setting, the rebranding goes along with an improvement in quality, a change in product. Man, this is ridiculousness at its height. Otis is exactly right. There's nothing wrong with changing the name, but just because there's nothing wrong with it doesn't mean we should spend the resources to do it. Let's spend all of the resources educating the children. And I want to repeat, I want to know, and I want the school board commissioners to tell us who's getting paid the consultancy money. That's all.
And I agree with that. I think we should know all the financial details around this. But the fact is that people from out of the city, they get a little confused when we talk about all of the school districts here. And Memphis is the biggest city, but there's nothing in any of the school districts that we have that says Memphis. I'm sorry, I just don't see the criticism here that is warranted to say let's not change the name.
Okay, I got to leave it there. Go ahead, but real quick.
I tell you who's not confused. I tell you who's not confused. The parents in the suburbs who took their kids out of public schools in Memphis like their hair was on fire. That's who's not confused, because they're educating their children as any good parent would.
Okay, very good. All right, we'll leave it there. We're going to take a break.